Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Corner. Okay, what? I don't know.
We've only been doing this for 5 years and we haven't figured it out yet.
We'll get it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
What are you doing?
Episode 146.
Yes.
And today is a bit of a special one. I feel like I say that a lot. Like I feel
say
like
that every time.
every second time. It's like,
Every
this is a special episode. But it is a bit of a special episode because we're going to talk about you, Jen.
Who, little me?
Because you've had a life-changing experience, as we say.
I certainly have.
And just to be clear, Jen is, if you haven't heard by now, Jen has changed jobs.
I have, indeed. I am now new in a role again.
Yes. One more time, baby.
One more time. I just love it. No, yes, my time at Verdane has ended, which it was a really wonderful experience being in PE. I think the thing I missed most, though, was owning something end to end.
Yes.
So even though I loved getting to know portfolio companies and, one day I'm working with this company and then I'm over in a different company and I learned so much. It was really, really wonderful experience. But then you kind of say, okay, here's what I think you should do. And then go do it. And
they're not always forced to do it. That's the problem, right?
They're not forced to do it. And
I see it materialize always.
Yeah, right? I wanted to see the baby be born. I wanted to see it come to fruition. So I've gone back to my marketing roots and I've taken an in-house role again. And my first day was Monday.
Boom.
Yeah. And it's Thursday. So
yes.
We're 4 days in.
4 days in recording.
Days in.
Yeah. So a little bit fresh still.
Yes.
You're can we say the name? No?
Yeah, we can say the name.
Okay, do you want to say the name?
Yeah, so I'm working for a company called Cerivo, Cerivo. It is a GRC platform and it is a roll-up, which is essentially when a PE firm buys a couple of companies and turns them into one big company.
Which is one hell of an exercise.
It is bonkers bananas, but like in the best possible way. It's super exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, because we are building something. You're building it from scratch. I say that in air quotes, but there's still like legacy there. There's stuff that's in place. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. That there is a lot of foundational work already done, and now we're kind of creating this new company based on these really strong foundations. So it's really exciting.
This one is based on 5 companies, right? If I recall.
So far, it's 4 companies.
Okay, 4, sorry.
And there's, some smaller acquisitions happening here and there. It's very much based on an acquisition model. So it's Comply Cloud, Risma, Wide Relations, and Openly have become now this one company in the GRC space.
Yes.
And so it's really, really exciting. It's still early days. I'm the VP of Marketing. I have a really wonderful team. And, we're having to build this new brand, but we still have to, keep the revenue engine going and kind of consolidate our revenue instead of having 4 revenue engines, right? Yeah. We're bringing it into one marketing strategy, one marketing team, one team in general, when you take all these companies and bring them in under one roof. So it's, it's super exciting. It's a super interesting challenge, right? Yeah. It's not something I've done at this level before. I've done PMI. We've done acquisitions where we were the big dog and we acquire the smaller dogs under our roof, but now it's a whole new company, a whole new brand, a whole new everything with all of these companies kind of involved. So it's super interesting.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Right. And you get your hands dirty a bit.
Yes. I'm getting my hands dirty with attribution and like lead gen and inbound and ABM stuff. And there's so many things. And because I'm VP, I'm kind of more in the leadership. I also get to look at the culture and how do we, what are our mission and what are our values.
There's all those companies already bring some people for marketing with them, right?
Yes. So it's a kind of a mishmash of all these different marketers. So you have to, in a way, they have their own ways of doing things. Yes. So we do have to come in with kind of a new way of,
consolidation.
Yeah. But they all are so smart and they all have such a strong background. So it's kind of, there's really strong foundations there, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Super
exciting.
And then you also get to market to compliance people, though, right?
I do.
Yeah. See if you can crack that nut.
It's a tough segment.
It is a tough segment, though, right?
But we also did I've done IoT before, and that's also a pretty tough, technical.
I find it it's so I have a little bit of experience. I used to work at a startup compliance just before I joined United FinTech back in the day, a few years ago. What is that? 7 years ago now. Holy shit. Anyways, but my point is, it's not that hard to stand out, in my opinion. Sometimes it's hard, at least internally, it's the people who work in that compliance space are not used to bold ads or something. I don't know the people you're going to be working with here. But I actually do know the Opelite. They're super cool people, by the way. But
Shout out to Sina.
yeah, she's awesome. I love her. And Søren as well. Really cool people. But not all of them, at least in that space, is typically used to doing like they are not used to doing bold ads and like push the boundaries a bit. But here, I think in that space, so it's very dry. You can just go in.
It's something we're actually talking about now. It's like how much humor can we use? You know, everyone
how
loves.
hard can we go?
Yeah. So it's already a topic of conversation 4 days in. Like, how do we stand out? How do we? But it's also, you know, pulling on my experience of working with portfolio companies. We want to be value-based, right?
Yes.
We don't want to be feature-based. And this is what we always say to people when you're coming up with your taglines, when you're coming up with your strategy. Stop talking about features. Like, talk about the value that you bring. And these people have very specific needs, right? They're very risk averse.
Yes.
And, you know, how do you establish trust? And how do you, kind of make yourself seem trusted, but at the same time stand out, right? So it's going to be an interesting balancing act. And I think it's similar to like, IoT people that I've worked with before, very technical, not likely to engage on LinkedIn, but maybe more on Reddit. You know, so it's it's not your typical ICP, I will say, but I think that's what makes it really interesting. You know, if it were easy, like, not saying that marketing to marketing people, for example, is easy, but that's obviously, we know that space, we know it really well. This is a whole new ball game. So I'm looking forward to being challenged and learning more and getting rolling my sleeves up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You have done the correct thing, as far as I would say. You've made a plan, right?
Of course I made it. Casper.
This was a leading question, folks. Like, I know Jen has made a plan.
Of course I made a plan.
Like, and even before I knew. Like, I didn't even know. I didn't even need to ask, but of course I knew. But like, I knew. So you made a plan. Like, what kind of plan have you made?
So I made a 90-day plan.
Love it.
Yes. So that's broken down like the first 3 months.
Yes.
And broken down by kind of month one. At the end of month one, what do I want to do? What do I want to have achieved at the end of month 2, month 3? Can you share some of it? Yeah,
like,
absolutely. I think that,
because also think like I don't want to be that guy. We're not gonna hold you super accountable if you end up changing your plan. But we could be kind of fun to visit this in 3 months or something,
and see how,
and then be like, how much of this did you end up doing, and like how much of this, like also just from like a transparency perspective, just saying, okay, I ended up not doing this because we didn't have time. It wasn't that relevant. We needed to do this other stuff.
Well, I think I'd like to share the framework for other people.
Yes.
And then as part of that, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm focusing in. But I think the important thing, the reason you need a plan, I'm not going to say I think you need it. The reason you need a plan.
Fuck yeah, 100%.
Is it's so easy to just want to make decisions right away.
Yes.
Day one, get shit done. Let's go. And that's like you and me. That's our personality, right?
Yes.
We're like, I'm here, let's have an impact from day one. And what you kind of have to do is you have to restrain yourself a little bit. You have to wait. I need to learn. I need to understand the landscape, because it's not just the product, but it's the people and the politics. And I'm not saying this particular job is very political, but I think all companies, you have to understand the players. You have to make sure you know who's back to rub and who not to piss off. And I think that understanding that political landscape in any company is super important if you want to get stuff done.
100%.
Right?
I also love that. My take has always been like the one with a plan always beats the ones that don't have a plan.
Yes.
Like it's always like, are you going to go with the person who has a plan or not have a plan?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to go with the person who's plan. Even though I might not be the best plan, you still plan.
It's a plan.
It's
At least
plan.
it's a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also, I also find it, like, especially in the beginning when you have to, I won't say defend your position, but you have to kind of like stake your claim. Like, this is my lane. This is what I got. Like, here I am. You're going to like, you need to break down some doors, right? Like, introduce yourself. Like, and then it's just really powerful to be like, hey, I'm Jen. Here's my plan.
Yeah.
Right?
I've spoken to all the right stakeholders.
Exactly.
I've taken your opinions into account, and here's my plan.
Exactly.
It's going to be way better than like, I don't know who you are. I don't care what's happened before. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? That's never going to fly.
No.
So it's all about like, it's making the right decisions, and you need to talk to people to make the right decisions. But it's also politically, you don't come in there, kick the door down, and go, all right, I'm here.
And I'm also like, I'm in love with the fact that you have a plan 4 days in.
Yeah.
Right? Because like,
I had the plan before I started.
Yeah, I know, but like you have it, it's in place, right?
Yes,
Because like
it's in place, yeah.
there's people who come in and then like, I'm gonna spend the first 30 days of trying to build the plan. I'm like, oh, come on.
No. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
You have to start delivering within your first 30 days.
Exactly.
So the first part of the plan, there's kind of broken down into 3 kind of concepts, right?
Yeah.
The first one is diagnosing the situation.
Yes.
Right? Understanding the landscape that you're working in, and I'll talk a little bit more about these. And then the second one is learning, what actions to take before you take them. And then the last one is to get those early wins, to
Gotcha.
kind of show, you're doing the right thing. But I think getting those early, there's so much temptation to get those early wins in week one, but they're not going to be wins if you do the wrong thing. So you need to lay the foundation, make sure you do the right thing, right? So when we talk about diagnosing the situation, this is the first one. Like, what am I got myself into? And one thing that people often get wrong is they think that coming into a new job, all companies are the same. And they're not, right?
Nope.
There's different types of situations they're in. So
A lot of consultants make that mistake. Just want to point that out.
yeah. So there's a model that I've used, and this is from Michael D. Watkins. He wrote the book First 90 Days.
Yeah.
So I read that book cover to cover in about a week because it's really interesting. So the first, they call it the STARS model, STARS, right? Startup. That's one kind of company you can go into, right? So you're building something totally new. Turnaround. A failing organization that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
That's a different type of situation, right?
Yeah.
Accelerated growth. So are you in like a hyperscale situation?
Yeah.
Realignment. So if companies started to drift off course, you're kind of coming back to bring them back in, or aligning two companies, in my case, 3 or 4 companies, or are you sustaining success? So are you coming into a strong organization and you're just going to keep it going? Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the different, sort of 5 different types of company you enter.
Where do you fall in here?
So I believe that we are in kind of a realignment / accelerated growth. Maybe. So so we're kind of aligning these companies together, but we have to maintain, or we
because all of them were technically healthy businesses,
yes,
right?
they were all healthy businesses, which was so attractive, and so now they're all under one roof to serve more people with more features, right?
Love it.
So once you know what kind of company you're in, then that's going to tell the plan that you do next, right? So like in a turnaround, right, you have to be super fast and you have to make decisions right away.
Yes.
You don't have the time to really do a lot of understanding and discovery. In accelerated growth, you have to scale, right? So you have to you have to look at efficiencies and things like that. And then realignment is, how do you convince people that they need to change? How do you kind of do that transformation management? So once you kind of understand that, then you can sort of start going into, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
And a lot of what this talks about is kind of understanding all the players. And that's a really big part, I think, of any company, is understanding who are all the people, who are the people who are going to open
And
doors
here you're
for
talking
you.
about internally, right?
Internally,
Yes,
yes.
gotcha.
Not even looking at how we market the company, but just when you come into a business, like who are going to open the doors? Who are the gatekeepers? Rule number 1, become best friends with the office manager. I'm telling you, the office manager will know everything that's going on. They will make sure you get your equipment. They will make sure you get those nice noise canceling headphones or the desk near the light.
God.
But I'm telling you, you got to make friends with the office manager. To know what's going on. But no, there's like a lot of other, and who has been there the longest, who's going to tell you what's worked, who's going to tell you what hasn't, who's going to tell you the lay of the land.
Yes.
And everyone, you need to know, who are the assholes?
No.
Not that I found any yet, but there's some people that you have to be very careful with, and there's some people you don't have to be so careful
There's
with.
just people like, and I think it's a healthy, or actually, I think this is another episode in itself we're going to do at one point, but like we're doing this like talent thing internally in Sparkforce where we're evaluating what people are good at, like talent assessment kind of thing, right?
Right.
And I think now you probably don't have that, but imagine having that lesson coming in, so you would be like, okay, this guy Karsten over here, I need to work with him.
You love Carson.
You're
always talking about
I was
Carson.
like, there's probably a Karsten in there. There's always a Karsten or a Lars. But like, how do I work with him? Like, how do I make this work? And like, just knowing that or getting that information up front, or like as soon as you can, so you know, okay, this is what I might experience, like might learn, and this is how I get around it. And also getting some of their like, probably some people have skepticism, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
I remember meeting a CRO at like in one of the first meetings he had. He was just like, dude, nice to meet you. I really like you, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe in marketing. I'm like, okay, this is where we're starting.
Yeah, and then I think in this case you'd have to say, do I fight to change your opinion? Are you important enough?
Yes, exactly.
Do I need you on my side, or can I just like kind of ignore you and just
it's like okay, I'm sorry to hear
sorry
that.
to hear that.
I'm gonna roll over here.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's important, and I think for me, understanding what have you guys tried before and what hasn't worked, right? Because you don't want to repeat yourself over and over again. And when you come in,
how do you do that like across when it's 4 different companies? That's a big job, right?
That's been really tough. Yeah, because you get different perspectives. So,
Yeah, because
you know,
this thing is working for them, but it's not working for these guys.
Yeah, and this is what we did, and this is what we did.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm trying to. It's also interesting to be one of the only people who hasn't worked for one of these companies.
That's a good thing, though.
It's a
I
good
think
thing,
it's a
and I
good
think
thing.
that's one of the things they really like about me is I just come in with a fresh perspective. I don't have that like this is the thing we've always done. So that's a little bit more on the difficult side, but that's just getting to know everyone, talking to everyone. So I have like my CLT, so I have like the commercial leadership team.
Yes.
Of course, I'm going to be working closely with them, but I need to, who are the people in product that I need to know? And this obviously is going to require migrations, right? Migrating customers. Who do I need to know there to make sure that's going to go smoothly? Like trying to branch out from the people who I know day to day I will be interacting with.
Yes.
So that's been priority this week sort of is getting to know all the right stakeholders and of course my team. So I have a team of 12.
Yes.
And most of them, some are on maternity leave.
Okay.
But I managed to go on walk and talks with every single one of them.
Oh, good.
In the first
cool.
week, which has been really good. So it was a half hour, a nice walk around the neighborhood. We're in Norbro to find out, okay, what's been working, what hasn't been working. And the thing that I tell every single one of them, and I tell every mentor a mentee I've ever had, what is your ideal job description 2 years from now? Like start thinking about that because also with this team, you know, we've got these three teams essentially have been brought together.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of overlapping.
There's
or
got to be
you know,
some overlap,
there's-
right?
Yeah, because not everyone, you know, not everyone was hired for this role. They
No,
brought
exactly.
them
There's going
together.
to be some overlap, and there's going to be some things you're missing, right?
Yes.
Like some things you're over relying on, some things you're under relying. Like
Exactly.
So yeah.
So, you know, getting to know what is it that you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? And actually that's been really helpful of like, okay, this person is doing this and this. She's doing A and B. She really loves B. Not a huge fan of A. Well, that's great because actually this person over here, he loves A, but he doesn't really like C. You know, so I'm already, the pieces are starting to come together and like who could own what. So I think that's been really helpful. But also like from a team standpoint, when you have this situation, there have been people who have been laid off and people have left and there's been a lot of changes, right? And here I come going, tell me what you want to do, you know? So it's also about the psychological safety and kind of getting to understand the people on the team and what they've been through and what they need from me as their manager and as their leader to feel safe and to feel secure.
Love it.
Which is a really big part of it. So that's kind of been the main
And that's the
focus
first
this week.
30 days, right? Or
This has been the first week.
this first week. Easy.
But I
Next
mean,
week,
overall-
reevaluate everything. Or
Yeah,
like
next week start again.
rebrand. No, I'm joking.
No, God. Well, they're already in the middle of a rebrand.
There we go.
But that's because they're making one big brand,
Yeah,
right?
okay, does make sense.
It's not nothing I have forced. I have not.
This one is a little bit more obvious.
This is beyond my control. But I think the first month is really understanding the lay of the land, understanding the product. In this case, 4 products being brought in to one company, and what does that look like? And there's always going to be challenges.
And maybe you don't when do you start, like, because we always talk about foundation work, like ICP, messaging, positioning, all that stuff, right? When do you dive deep on ICP? Because I think my point is, if it was just a one company, like just one company, and like that's been around for a while, like let's say you joined Sportforce, or let's use one of my good friends, Templify. Let's say you joined that one. Well, ICP might be changing, but it's not that different. Now you're joining 4 companies united that probably, while they sell to some of the same people, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of overlap, most likely, but it's not 100% overlap. I don't believe that, right? They have different features, different functionalities, different audiences. Like, how the hell do you grasp that?
I'm very lucky. I'm sorry, this is going to be a very non-exciting answer because they've already done that.
Love it.
I know, it was amazing. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we actually have a pretty strong agreed upon ICP. But I would say that's
probably some smart folks who said to them, or like maybe they're smart enough themselves to be like, we need to do this.
We need this
is
now.
the major thing we need to do.
Like, I think that would have been part of like maybe the investment thesis of
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
who is
I was
this
about to
gonna
say, like,
serve?
if
Who are you
I
gonna
was
serve?
a PE or VC or whatever going into them, I'd be like, guys, if we do this, we have to get in a room and don't leave this room until we agree.
Cage match style.
Yeah, exactly.
Cage match style. Exactly. And that's what they did. And the beauty of these products is some had served enterprise, some had served SMB. So it's kind of like, okay, now we can serve everyone, but not everyone needs the same thing. So we're still working that out. Like there is now a whole suite of features.
There
And
must be so many,
where do we put this? What is enterprise? And, of course, there's going to be that debate. And that sits with product.
And then you're also entering like that whole like the product overlaps, right?
Yeah.
Like, so what like, hey, what are we going to call this product in the future? Like, how do we?
Yeah, so that's all, that's all inevitably going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's where product is really, really a huge part of that conversation. I don't think marketing should decide what we call that and what we do there. But we're also spending a lot of time with like the internal comms. You know, I have a very talented brand and PR person who, focusing very much on internal communication, because you also have all these companies coming in. Everyone, we kind of joked that we should probably be wearing name tags because so many people don't actually know each other.
How many people are already now?
It's
Then?
about 115.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big company. It's very, the internal comms is also something that we're working on. You know, what is our mission? What are we here to do? Now we're one team, and how do we, kind of rah-rah that.
That's exciting.
Which I love that kind of,
love
right?
that part,
I love that culture of like, what kind of a culture do we want to be? So that's really nice. But I think the first month is mostly of a discovery. Of course, you have to have these wins, right? So one of the things that they did before I joined, they did a consolidating of their HubSpot because they had 4 HubSpots, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
So they got that, and that launched on Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday, and I joined on Monday.
Wow.
So it's done, but of course there's tweaks here and there, and there's training of
Small
people,
mistakes and small fixes.
little things here and there. So I'm working with that to define the life cycle stages, and we're looking at inbound, and we're looking at paid, and we're there's certain marketing things. So one of the problems that we have that a lot of companies have when they merge is Google Ads. We're competing with each other right now.
Yeah,
right? We're competing on the same keywords.
No,
so
that's
how do
so
we
funny,
solve that? How do we stop the cannibalization? So that's one of my, I want to get that done ASAP. And that's a small win, big win, I guess, because it's saving us money.
Yeah.
But, so I'm not saying don't do anything.
But you also still have like separate websites, right? So,
We do, yeah.
So each of them still needs volume for at least some time being, I
Yes.
guess, right?
Yeah, because
Like-
we're building the car while we drive it. We still
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
generate revenue. We still have to generate,
Yeah.
we still have financial targets we have to hit. But at the same time, we're trying to bring everything together under a new brand.
God, wow.
So so it's also, what does that mean, and what are the challenges? And then my style is to say we can do this, and these are the trade-offs. If we do option A, here's the upside, here's the downside, and there's option B, here's the upside and the downside. What are we going to do? At least we know what the downside will be, and we're prepared for it. So that's what I'm at now, is kind of, can I present this A or B, what manage their expectations.
Exactly.
So that's month 1. And
You also
then-
like one thing, and I don't mean to interrupt here, but this is like one thing I
dare
was
you.
thinking. I'm just thinking out loud here, but like when you bring in 4 companies together and you bring in 4 founders together, there's like I can imagine a world where like there's a lot of egos that need to be stroked in the beginning, right?
I have no idea.
You don't know, of course,
don't
but
know,
I can
yeah.
say this. You don't have to answer this, but I would imagine that being the case, right? Like, because like then you suddenly, of course, but then like. Because some of them are like, they built these.
We've done this right,
We've
yeah.
done this right. We built this company from the start, and it's like, okay, cool. And now you bring it all together, and like we're getting rid of this color. Like never gonna see it again. Like, oh, but that was my favorite color.
Yeah. I think,
Right,
but I think that's natural, right? We see that with all companies who don't want to evolve, and I mean, I haven't seen that myself, and from what I've heard from people, like the founders are still, most of them are still there.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're still a part of it, but I think the vibe everyone has is this is the chance to build something really, really exciting. I think with any company there is that like, but we did this best.
Yeah.
So you should do it our way. I think that's natural. I haven't really encountered it, but I mean, I'm anticipating some kind of pushback on that. But I think by and large, people understand that this is something really special that we can build together as long as we work together. But I mean, I've been in companies that have acquired other companies, and it's been, like I said, like we were the big dog.
Yeah.
Yoink, we're going to take you. You're coming under
here
our brand.
it's not that much big dog, small dog.
Everyone's
everyone's same dog.
Everyone's the same dog, and that's why it's all new colors, all new name,
exactly.
whole new building. So there's no like legacy of like.
I think that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's
really
like
healthy.
if you've. I know you've been with your Camilla for your whole life, but if you've been with someone and then you break up and then someone new moves into your apartment,
it's gonna be
it
weird.
never feels like theirs.
No, I totally get that. No, I'm buying 100%.
Yeah. So that's been really, really exciting. And I think, so the first month is, and I definitely have like milestones that I've been given, sorting out the inbound, and we're doing one of the brands will fully absorb, the main brand will fully absorb one of those brands by the end of the month. So what is that going to look like? How's the web going to look? So there's a few, I'm not saying don't do anything in your first 30 days, but don't make any huge decisions. Don't do a rebrand. Don't change a vendor. Don't change a supplier. You know,
Don't have to. Not yet.
don't make any of those big decisions because not now. And don't do a big PR push. That's the other one. I was very adamant with my team. Like, we're not doing a PR push. The last thing we need to do is put a magnifying glass on what's happening right now, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's month one. And then month two, I think, is where you start making those transitional decisions, right? You have the lay of the land. You've hopefully got buy-in. You've hopefully, you know, kind of buttered up the right stakeholders who will open doors or who will back you up on decisions that you make. And then you start actually implementing those changes. Nothing's going to happen overnight. And that's the other thing. You really have to manage expectations. I mean, I went to their Friday bar before I started, but like the Friday before I started. And it was like, when are we going to get more leads? When are we going to get more leads? You know, and of course of course they were joking, but
They're not that joking, though.
they're not that joking.
Yeah,
right?
it's not
And
that.
like, I want to make sure that the right,
I think
what is a good lead?
my wife, shout out to Camilla, always says there's always some level of truth to a joke.
Yeah.
Right? There's always some, so like, it might just be a 1%, but there's still some part you mean about it, right? I think that's the same, right?
Yeah, same vibes. Of course, they want leads. You know, they have a big sales function. They have big targets to hit. Now here's this VP of marketing. Let's see what she's got. But I mean, I'm not ready to go, yes, we're just going to double spend here. You know, I don't know what channel's working.
No.
And because the data has just been...
expectation management also, because like you are focusing on consolidating while still making sure all four get something.
Yeah.
And you probably stop at some point developing those four. Like, it's not like you develop the marketing for any of them, because like you can't, like you have to develop the new one. So they will over time like stagnate and drop and drop and drop while you build.
Hopefully the other one comes up.
Hopefully the one carries up. And that transition is going to be slightly painful, most likely.
Yeah,
right?
there's going to be a dip.
There's whenever you bring four stuff, it's not just, okay, we had 100 before, now we're just gonna get 400. It's not how it works.
No.
And I think that's just it's really important.
We didn't acquire a whole new market.
No, exactly.
Right, necessarily, right?
Yeah.
We can now sell to SMB. We can now sell to enterprise. You know, whatever, depending on your perspective.
And the market will not. Of course, the people who already know you guys, fair enough. But the rest might not know. Like, it takes time to build a new brand. Like,
And that's the thing. That's the really difficult part. And we had this also in my time in Verdane when there was kind of, we call it PMI, right? Post-merger integration is when do we accept losing the brand equity of the existing brands?
Yes.
When do we go, okay, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn off the Google ad, bidding on what's always worked, and pray to whoever you pray to that it picks up and it's seamless. It's not really ever going to be, you know, turn one off and the other one just replaces it. There's going to be a dip. And I think for me, especially when there's investors involved, you know, making sure, like, don't freak out. You know, the dip is inevitable, but here's what we're going to do.
exactly.
And here's what it means. And so it's kind of laying those foundations and managing, hardcore expectation management.
But be super hardcore about it.
Yeah. And that's always a problem. Every time it's like, when do we give up on this brand?
Yeah.
You know, and I've been in companies where we've bought companies, we don't give up on the brand because no one wants to make that decision. And so marketing are just keeping, you know, 16 balls in the air because you have to update product pages and customer case studies and websites and blue, you know, you're managing all of a sudden 3-4 brands. That's not sustainable either, unless you're going to triple my team.
Yes.
Right? So you have to kill some of your darlings after a while.
Darlings all the time. Yeah.
But
Fuck yeah. Exciting.
Interesting.
You're almost getting me excited here.
I know you should get.
I should build a
don't
compliance company.
Don't come join, because then they don't need me. Don't do it. But I think I don't know. I don't even know how long we've been speaking.
It's been quite long. It's a long episode, but it's okay.
That's
Like,
okay. I just wanna do, like, some
I
common
haven't
trends.
asked them, but like I think, like, are you guys enjoying
Are
yourself?
you guys okay?
Yes.
If you want us to move on, just say so.
Nothing. Cool.
Okay,
We'll
cool.
keep going.
We'll carry on. No, I just wanted to end maybe with some of the traps
Yes.
that you should probably avoid when you go into a new role. Is obviously acting too quickly.
Yes.
Don't try to fix things before.
It's
you
always like a
understand them.
balance, right? Because like you also want to show decisiveness in the sense that you are like, they hired you for a reason. That your experience, your like expertise. It's not like you don't need to sit there like like you mentioned that Google ad issue. Like you don't need to wait 3 months to make a decision on that, right?
Yeah.
Like you can kind of like, okay, I've assessed, I've evaluated, this is what we do, right?
And this is what we do. Yeah, and I think there's some things you can fix right away, but understand them first.
Yes.
Right? That was the
and then
big
there's
question.
other things where it's like you need to understand the products, like the ICP and all that stuff a little bit better before you make major
Major choices. Yeah. So just understand the lay of the land and understand the right. Make sure you talk to the right stakeholders.
I buy that 100%.
If I go in and start changing Google Ads without telling our CRM owner or without informing the BDRs, right? That's going to not be cool. So I just need to make sure everyone knows, hey, by the way, we're going to do this thing. And then we can do it. I think, don't stay too long in analysis.
No.
Right? Like you said, you do, like my grandma used to say, shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Like learning is important, but you do have to take an action.
Yeah.
They're not paying you to sit there and think. They're paying you to.
You don't need to have like, I think there's like, I can't remember the saying. I'm actually forgetting it, but it's more like, it's like, when is my minimum viable decision-making point, right? Like when do I have enough information to make a decision?
Yeah.
And I think that's, you have to find, and everything I always like, how fast, and like there's very few things that you can't have one meeting about or one talk, like one thing where you analyze and then you talk about it and then you decide.
Yeah.
There's very few things where that's not the case.
Yeah. You
Right?
just got to get the right people in that room.
Yes. Of course.
Yes,
Yeah. But there's very few things where it's like, oh, we need to have 5 meetings about this. Like, why? We have talked about it once. Like, it's not. We're not adding new information. We're just adding opinions.
And that's where the kind of data analysis comes in, right? I can go into that meeting now and I go, here's up. I've talked to everyone. I've done it and my own experience.
Yeah.
Option A,
Yeah.
pros and cons. Option B, pros and cons. I think we should do problem B, or option B. Here's why.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Exactly.
We're not leaving this room till we make a decision, and then once we make that decision, it's final.
Own it. Yeah.
Own it. I'm happy to own it, but with all of your support, and it's all the right people in the room, because that's the other thing that is really annoying is you make a decision and then you change your mind, and then you make a decision. So that's why it's important to go in there fully equipped with at least all the data you can possibly have about it, at least that you know about. Consult the right people, and then option A, option B. Here's the pros and cons of each. Let's go.
Agree.
And then the last one I think really important is don't ignore the political landscape.
No. I think that's a really good one.
It's really important. I mean, there's going to be the formal authority, right? There's going to be the head ofs and the directors and the C-level, but then there's informal people.
Yes.
Office manager, or who's the lady who's been here in HR forever and has seen everything and knows everyone and everyone trusts her. You have to kind of also feel out the people who will say good things about you when you're not in the room.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you need those people. Even if they're not the ones at the table, even if they're not the ones with the C title, there are people in every company that people trust and they look to for advice. And if that person says, I really like Jen, I think she's doing a really great job, that's going to help you.
It buys you so much time.
Buys you time. And
It's
buys you
also
equity.
I don't mean to say that, like, it's not, we're not here to buy time, but I always think about it a little bit like sometimes you need to buy time because you need marketing, like, you can be the best one in the world, but things you do will take some time to come into effect, right?
Especially
so you need to
marketing, right?
and the nicer you are to people and get around with people, the more time you buy. Like, it's not always the smartest people who stick around in jobs, right? Often it's not.
No, it's we talked a little bit. It's the people who play the game.
Yes.
Right?
This is the game.
And there's a game, and it's not in a bad way.
No, exactly. It's not in a bad way. No.
It's not a manipulation.
No, it's more like...
But there's certain people who, even if they have no authority over me, they will be the ones who cultivate my image in the company.
Yeah.
And if that image is good, it's going to open more doors and more people are going to buy in. If that, like, how many times have we worked in a company where there's that person everyone hates?
Absolutely.
How much do they get done?
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
They can't do it themselves. They don't get much done.
They don't get much done because no one else wants to help them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, that's kind of my 90-day plan, more or less, is that. Thanks for listening. And then maybe in 90 days, we'll talk about it and
we'll
see how
talk
it's going.
again in 90 days. This is not over. Like, we'll talk a lot about this stuff. So, but super cool. And congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and thanks
Watch this space, guys.
Watch this compliance space, folks.
Watch the compliance space, baby.
Yeah.
Finally, I have something that is a must-have. I will say that's the exciting thing about the product. I've always worked in nice-to-haves.
Yeah, this is a must-have.
Everyone has to be compliant.
Yeah. Not
so
all of the features probably, but like a lot of it is very...
I mean, they go from GDPR to AI,
Yeah.
all of that's covered, and then super big enterprise stuff. So everything in between. So people need to be compliant. Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks for listening, folks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.